Hello and welcome to our We Should Hang Out Sometime live show. This month we've been working with Little Brown, and today we're going to have Josh Sundquist here for the second half. He's going to be joining us at 7:30 EST in 30 minutes. We're very excited. I'm Christine, Paul and Ben's Books. This is my channel.
I'm Jesse. Oh. Go, Kat.
I'm Kat. Hi.
I'm Jesse from the channel Jesse the Reader.
Wow, that was very speedy. We didn't have to be that speedy. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing We Should Hang Out Sometime by Josh. What's happening? Give me a second. Hold on. Travesty has struck. Okay, I fixed it. Today we're going to be discussing We Should Hang Out Sometime by Josh Sundquist, which is a true story, and we're going to be taking questions from you guys using the Google Q&A app, which is in one of the corners right now. It'll say like Google Q&A, and you click on it, and then you can ask questions, and thumbs up the one you like, the ones that you like. So
you only get one question.
That way you know what, like, I don't know what I was going with that. That way we know what you want to ask us. It'll be at the top. So I think we're going to start off, as we always do, with our overall thoughts. Jess, you want to kick us off? I just put it Jesse.
Anyways, I really enjoyed this book. I loved how quirky and awkward it was. At times, I was a little bit frustrated with some of the stories, or just with the book in general, because it like kind of sets you up where you're like, oh, I'm really excited about this relationship that he's about to get into, and then at the end of it, it's just like, wah, 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 it doesn't work out. So I didn't really like that pattern that it followed, and I also felt like the ending, there was just like not that much to it, and I wanted more. I wanted this like really happy ending. I didn't feel like I got that. Like, yes, he does end up in a happy situation, but I wanted to know more about their life together. I loved the format of the book too. I liked that it broke it down like background, hypothesis, investigation. I thought that that was really interesting, and all the charts and stuff. I thought it was just a fun little read. So I'm glad I got the chance to read it.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the analytical approach.
Yeah, I like the charts.
Took. All the charts and graphs were just wonderful, especially because a lot of them had like an extra bit of humor sprinkled in. So like, I really liked all the charts, and yeah, it was really interesting going into this book because we know it's a true story, and we know that it's real people. You know, like we met Josh, or Christine and I did at least. Like we know he's a real person, and we also know that all of these relationships never had like a happy ending. Like not necessarily a bad thing, but like these possible girlfriends that they never actually got together. So it was so weird to like be reading about these relationships and kind of rooting for them. Like, oh, I hope they get together, but I know that they don't. And also it's kind of like weird to ship real people. But I did enjoy it for the most part. Like overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really funny. I loved Josh's sense of humor and how it wasn't just about relationships and just about getting a girlfriend. Like there's a lot of other stuff going on, like him dealing with friends and going from homeschool and dealing with having only one leg and wearing the prosthesis a lot of time. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree with what Kat said about meeting him and how different it was to read a book like when you know the real person. But it was really interesting also learning more about like his like early middle school life and the homeschooling thing. I did not know that Josh was homeschooled. But yeah, I really enjoyed the graphs. I feel like I kind of feel repetitive because I did do a book talk about this. I enjoyed the stories, but at the same time, like Jesse said, I got frustrated by like how nothing worked out over and over, that pattern, and I wanted to see more of the happy at the end to feel like kind of like it all paid off. Like, you know, it's like a story where we kind of almost got the arc at the end. Like we almost got the happy ending, but there's just like a taste of it.
Yeah, that's actually something I kind of mentioned in my Goodreads review, is it's very much like a slice of life, and we don't get as much closure as we would with like a traditional plotted story that has like a full story arc, because this is someone's life. Like it's real. There's not a story arc, and sometimes things happen that you don't get closure from, and that's just the way life works.
Tis. Okay, so if we want to go to our first question here, I mean, I have the top one is not the most upped one, but it says if you could, I think this is a good question, if you could go back and do what Josh did, would you? And thank you for the compliment about my lipstick and glasses. Do you guys want to start?
Sure. I think I would, but I don't think I have the courage to. Like, if I got the chance to, I don't think I actually would. I don't know. Wait, I'm just, like, contradicting myself. I don't know if I would. It really depends. I know, like, wait, no. But it really depends, like, on the situation. Like, if I did get closure with that relationship, because I feel like he just never got closure with any of these relationships. Like, they were just open-ended. Normally, though, you do come out of a relationship with a little bit of closure. So,
well,
I don't know.
It's just like his, like an almost relationship, you almost never get closure. Because if you never tell them, then you never know.
I don't know. I guess it depends on how much I really liked the person, you know? If I would actually go back and talk to them about it.
Yeah. I know.
Sorry for completely contradicting myself just then.
I would love to do it because I think it'd be so funny. But there's only one person that I think I actually would have the guts to do it too. You know, like, because so many of the early ones, it's just like they didn't even know I liked them. It was just like, from afar. Like, I have a crush on that kid on the middle, and we never even spoke.
Yeah, see, that's one thing that like Josh kind of had going for him is, at least from reading and like meeting him, he's a very like friendly and charismatic person, and I'm like way too shy to do something like that. Like, I don't have like that many people in my past who I could like go and be like, hey, what happened to our relationship that never happened? There'd be like one guy.
Well, do you have like crushes from like random like middle school, high school? Like, because that's what he did.
Yeah, but I don't know. like you were saying, it was like I liked you from afar.
Yeah. But again,
who are you again?
Again, that would be hilarious. Like, I actually would do this if it was like for a show. Like, I wouldn't do it just for myself because it would be a waste.
Maybe I'll do this at my high school reunion. Be like, hey, by the way, you know, if it comes up organically in conversation.
If it comes up organically. The next question I got here is, do you have any beep. Do you have any awkward dating stories? I definitely have some I've shared with you guys. See my channel for more details. I have a video called Date about this horrible date that I went on. And I also, if you want to check that out, it's on Full Minutes 20. And I also have this one called Mike the Banana, which is also another awkward dating thing.
Yeah, I don't really have anything. Like, I was in a relationship for like 6 years, so I didn't really do much of the dating thing.
Did you guys have any awkward beginning dates?
Not really. I mean, there was like this whole period of time where it's like, are we actually boyfriend and girlfriend? But then we were, and it was fine.
I don't have any that I can share. Or that I'm ready to share.
Personal question.
Yeah, like,
I know, it's
I
very
don't have any
personal.
that I'm ready to share right now.
Yeah, a little too fresh.
That's the thing, like, maybe in 5 years.
Give it time.
Try me again when I'm engaged and I have my happy ending.
When I'm
right a book like this.
Best pickup line in 5 seconds, go. I just used mine right before we went on the air, but like, did it hurt when you fell off the bookshelf? Book. Get it? Just I'm talking about a book.
Yeah, I don't really have any.
I don't have any either.
I feel like shy and awkward in real life to initiate these kinds of conversations. Like, I'm terrible at small talk. I'm so bad. I can't do the small talk.
Okay, like, let's be honest, none of us use pickup lines.
Yeah, who uses pickup lines? Please don't use pickup lines.
Josh's move that
Yeah.
move that he does at the end of the book where he wears interesting ties so that girls will like. It's a good conversation starter.
That's called peacocking. I don't know if you learned about it in How I Met Your Mother, but that's where I was educated in all things pickup.
Barney Simpson.
Barney Simpson taught me many a thing. He also taught me about the lemon law. Like, he comes up in my dating stories. But pickup line, I had something else to add about that, and I don't remember what it was. Oh, but we use moves like, people like us use moves like eye contact. And,
see, that's kind
it.
of one reason why I couldn't, I personally wasn't as frustrated with, like, how Josh, like, never really got the courage to, like, define the relationship, which he finally did later on.
TTR.
Because I was the same way, like, and I was frustrated with myself more than anything. Like, this made me remember, like, there were these guys that I would like, and, like, we would have, like, kind of a flirtiness going on, but I would never, ever be, like, brave enough to be, like, so, what is this, like, make the first move. I would never be brave enough to do that, so I couldn't blame Josh for not doing it either.
Like, the thing is, he was so close to the move so many times. Like, but did you say that made you frustrated, or you didn't mind it? Because
it made me more frustrated at myself for doing the exact same thing.
Like, I know this one time, it was just like, it was so, like, it was like that. It was just like, we were so close so many times, and he just never made a move. So it's just like this uncomfortable, like, what is this relationship? And then we were at this, like, club one time, and he was dancing with me, and then this other girl came up and was dancing with him. We were, like, both right next to him. It was awkward because, like, who were you dancing with, me or that freaking other girl? And, like, he would, like, make eye contact back and forth, and then he started making out with that fucking girl in front of me. It was the worst. I, like, went to the bathroom and cried.
Oh my God.
We've been talking for, like, a month. Like, hanging out every day.
What?
Yeah,
That's the worst.
Now I'm like reliving more
downers.
Moments.
See, this is what the book. This is what the book did.
I'm like remembering my prom, and there was this guy that I liked, and we kind of had like an almost relationship going on, and I wanted to go to prom with him, but I was too afraid to ask him, and like we all went in a big group with all of our friends, and like all of our friends were paired off, like they were like official prom dates, and me and him weren't. So we have like the most awkward group photo of all time, where it's like all the couples, all coupley, and then like me and him at the end, like awkwardly spaced apart.
You pretend to be a couple.
I cringe just thinking of it. I think I saw the picture somewhere, and I can't even look at it.
Oh. I feel you. I didn't ask the person that I went to go to prom with because I wanted him to ask me. He did it and someone else did. Should we go to the next question?
Yeah. Moving along.
Let's
get
move
back
on.
to the book.
Please.
Which part made you laugh the most?
Ooh.
Oh.
Jesse.
I think the golfing scene with him and Evelyn, I think that's Evelyn, the girl that he was with. And he, like,
Pick the tree.
fell over and his leg like turned or whatever, and his leg was like going in a different direction.
No, he fell and
he kicked it to make it better.
And then he was kicking the tree to make it better.
Yeah. Like, that would be the worst thing ever.
Along, like with the next upvoted question here, which was the secondhand embarrassment. Did you feel that? Like that's when I felt the secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
I felt like I felt that the whole way through this book. I was just like, oh, Josh, come on. Like, I was just so embarrassed.
I was reliving my own first-hand embarrassment.
Yeah.
I was reliving the first-hand embarrassment until, like, this was the worst for the second-hand embarrassment for me. The canoe.
The canoe.
Like, I know, like, you know, both the style, I don't know, I've never been on this side where, like, I'd asked someone to do something and then they brought along a boyfriend. Like, I've been on the side that the girl asks for a friend. And, like, it's obviously, like, a move to not want to be alone. And it's just so uncomfortable.
One other aspect that made me laugh a lot was Josh going to public school and like all his like preconceived notions of public school. And, like, he was definitely gonna get offered drugs and definitely gonna get invited to a gang. And it was like really weird that it didn't happen on his first date. But like, the next day he would get that gang initiation.
No, like, the most hysterical section for me, like, because it was just, like, it never even was really touched on as something completely awkward by, like, the people around him, but, like, he knew everyone's name because he knew I said
That was so weird.
He used everyone's name and saying hi. That was so funny. Is that a Christmas tree you see in the background? It's an April Fool's tree. If one of them could have been a real relationship, which one would you have liked to see?
I liked the Miss America one because I just felt like they were really compatible.
Me too.
Yeah.
That was definitely the most promising. I wish there was a move. I wish it didn't. Not like they just dropped communication on all ends.
I almost thought that she was going to be the one that ended up being the fiance too, because like it was getting closer to the end of the book. I was like, oh, this is how it's going to happen. No, let down again.
I was just like, wow, like he's going to be dating like Miss America. That's so crazy.
And that one, like, it wasn't even like a single event. It was just like he didn't make the move and like she didn't make the move, and it just like fell apart.
Snowballed into no movelessness. Yeah, like that whole thing of getting up and like being at the airport. It's like obviously she likes you. Yeah. There's no way you would do that.
Yeah. That's one of the things that also bugged me is like I felt like a lot of the time he was waiting on the girl to make the move, and it's like you can't just wait. Like you just got to take action and do something about it. It's like, come on.
See, like that was a huge move for her. That was a
yeah. But even when it was the story of his first kiss, where like he ended up like talking about the kiss for like 20 minutes before actually getting to the kiss. Like she said you could kiss her, you could kiss her.
Yeah.
It was just like ridiculous. But I guess like because so nervous. Just, like,
yeah. I mean, I totally understand. Like, I relate to that, but it was just like frustrating reading from that. I was like, oh, come on. You're right there.
I'll just do it. You know what else? The girl, remember that party scene when they like snuck into that frat party?
Oh yeah.
And like he was dancing with that girl, but then he tried to like
he went to dance with her, and she was like, "No, I don't want to dance like that."
Like that. That was like sad.
I hated that whole Lily story for some reason. Like I just didn't really like that one because it was like so uncomfortable because like he kept calling her and calling her and calling her, and he didn't realize that it was going to her phone. I was just like, oh.
That
clearly didn't like him.
And when he emails her and she like
doesn't
even remember it, or says that she doesn't even remember it.
Yeah.
And like this was like an important thing in like his life and like his experience, and you're just like, oh, did that happen? Haha, I don't remember.
I bet she does remember.
Yeah.
And she was just playing it cool. Like, because she obviously didn't want to date him, and he was trying to date her. Like, you don't forget about that, because you go through the discomfort of like trying to not date them. Should we? How did your first date go?
Again, too fresh.
I remember my like first real date when like you and I, the guy was just like really full of himself, and he kept saying how he was like had really deep pockets, like that was impressive, and he had like a lot of money, and I was just like, this is horrible.
I don't think I've been on like an official date. Like it all starts off. Like it all started off in school. Like I was in a serious relationship for so long that like the last time I met people before that, like it was in school. So we knew each other from school, and it didn't feel like dating when we like were hanging out with other people usually. Like we were friends first. So I don't know. I'm 27 and I've like never been on a real date.
Well, didn't Wish take you on real dates though?
Yeah, but it wasn't like a first date. It was like, oh yeah, we've been hanging out, watching a movie, let's go get dinner. Like it wasn't like, let's go on a date at this set time. I don't know.
I've never had like an amazing first date. Obviously, I'll also probably be like married to that amazing person. First dates are usually all kind of awkward, I feel like, and uncomfortable, unless you're like Kat and you were friends first.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. What would you do if Josh went up to you and did the same thing, or your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend?
How's it like an ex?
It's an ex or ex like almost relationship.
Like
I would have so much fun with that.
Yeah, I would love that conversation. Be like, let's analyze what happened here.
I feel like that would be so much fun.
Let me find my old emo journals from high school. Let's figure out what went wrong.
Jesse, what would you do?
I don't know. I'm so awkward that I'd probably like kind of blow it off. Be like, I don't really want to talk about this.
Like, I feel like.
Oh, good.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel like if I knew it was for like a project, then maybe I would be more open about it. But like if they were just coming at me and like bombarding me, I'd be like, I don't want to talk about this.
Well, you gotta look at it how Josh did it. How like he was like, hey, let's catch up sometime, and then like you catch up on normal life stuff, and then you bring up like so back in high school, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
like bombard you with a microphone.
I think he would have been more successful with answers though if he did say like, I'm doing this thing. He did for some people. He said I'm like doing this life project where he wants. Yeah. But I don't think for everyone. He kind of was like, oh.
Well, yeah. But what I'm curious about, and we can ask Josh when he pops in here soon, is like at what point did he decide that he wanted to write this? Like, what really like triggered him?
No, he said
did he talk to anyone?
He said that the pageant girl gave him the idea.
No, a different pageant girl.
As a different pageant girl?
Yeah.
So he knows two pageant girls?
He did motivational speaking in like similar circuits. Yeah.
Oh, I thought she gave him the idea for this when they were talking. When she was engaged.
No, it was someone else. It was someone who actually won Miss America, and they like jokingly suggested like you should do this book, and then he actually did it. But I don't know if that's like exactly what happened, like if he had it in mind before or what. But yeah, we can ask him in a minute. Here.
Yeah. Okay. Did you find a lot of the things he said kind of offensive, or was it just me? This question, because I've seen this in some reviews about like how he's just a man, like demanding to know why things didn't work out, and like I think you're really, really harsh on that. I mean, you're telling the story from his point of view at these ages in his life. Yeah. So like he's gonna think things like that a teenage boy would think. He's not like a fully matured man who's like saying everything politically correct. I thought that was kind of ridiculous. If you go back to your 15-year-old self, you're very just like concentrated on you and what you like and who you like and not what they're thinking and if they're like an independent woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't think anything he did was offensive. Like, some people have kind of taken this perspective on it of like, oh, he's tracking down his ex-girlfriends and harassing them.
Yeah.
And I did not get that vibe at all. Like, he he's still on
'Cause he
friendly,
didn't.
good terms with all of these people, and like he catches up with them. Like it all seemed like they were all like happy to talk to him, and like I don't know, I did not get that vibe at all.
Yeah,
And when he felt like they didn't want to talk about it, like he didn't carry on and like keep going and like drilling them with questions. Like he let it go. He's like, okay, that's all they have to say, you know. So
yeah, exactly. I feel like a lot of people were kind of in the reviews that I had read were focusing more on how like he's just thinking about himself and like not thinking about their point of view. Like it's all like, why didn't they like me? And blah, 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 blah. Again, it's like
well, and the thing is, the whole point of the book is not about like him trying to get a girlfriend, but like him coming to the realization that there wasn't a problem with like the girls or with him. It was about him like not believing in himself enough, and like him
it's confidence,
like coming of age, essentially. Which teenagers do stupid things
and say stupid things. Like, they do stupid things, they say stupid things, they think stupid things, like, and when you're a teenager, you don't see it that way at all. Like, it really takes perspective to see how stupid you were. Like, I go back and look at how stupid I was when I was 20. Like, it's just like, that was only like 4 years ago.
I look at how stupid I was last week.
Yeah, seriously. Yesterday.
More recently, though, I've been having these, like, oh my god, I can't believe I did these things when I was 20. Let's see. Josh's gonna be here in 4 minutes. Okay, we can take a few more questions.
Go ahead and start shooting some author questions too. That way we have them in the.
If you guys have any questions for Josh?
Yes. Oh, let's do our next month's read.
Hold on, I want to do this. We should hang out sometime trick question.
Oh, what is it?
Yeah, well, what the whole premise, not the whole premise, but like the title of the book is We Should Hang Out Sometime. And that was like Josh's go-to line. Like a pickup line. Like, would you ever use that?
Okay, the thing with that one, I'm on cat's face forever. Okay, the thing with that one is that when people say that to me, we never hang out. Because unless you give me a set date and time, I'm not going to have the courage to text you and be like, oh yeah, remember when you said we can hang out. But like he did it, like he asked them again. So if they followed through, then yeah. But he said also that like you can't say no to we should hang out sometime. And I can say no to we should hang out sometime. Yeah, I could.
It's so vague and open-ended.
What I would do is be like, yeah, sure. And then never respond when they text me. Like, I've done it. That's mean, but like, if you're not getting along with the person, they're just a random at the bar, I'm not gonna do it. But we should quickly announce our next month before Josh gets in here.
Yes. So our next month's book, we've already announced in our book haul, which we all put up yesterday.
Well, I didn't have it in my book haul.
Oh, you did? Oh,
no, I saved it for next month.
I did.
We all put up book hauls yesterday.
Booksplosion
clogging up your feed.
But next month's
book is Queen of Tierling.
The Queen of the Tierling.
Oh, holy damn it!
It's the most beautiful book.
She had the book like
this, like I didn't even realize.
Oh.
Okay.
But yes, we're reading Queen of the Tierling next month. We're so excited about it.
And our hashtag is Month of Tierling, hashtag Month of Tierling. It's just, look at this. It looks like the Bible.
I love this book.
It's so
pretty.
Both editions, though, are so beautiful. Like, they're so great.
The soft cover comes out April 14th. So if you want to get the soft cover.
Like, this book did come out a year ago, so you can maybe find it in your library, but if the hardcover is not on shelves, the paperback will be on shelves.
Yeah, the 14th.
And our live show will be May 2nd?
May 2nd at an hour earlier than it usually is. Mm-hmm. So 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
So be there.
Be there or be square, because Emma Watson
is attached to not only star, but to also produce this. Like, she's involved in the adaptation.
That's so exciting. Yeah. We're going to read a book before it becomes a movie, before it's, like, really hot. So, like, we're hipsters.
The Queen of Tierling hipsters. When is the sequel coming out? Like, The first book paperback is out. The sequel must be.
I think it's coming out in like July, if I remember correctly.
Relatively soon.
Wait, the sequel to this?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
sequels?
It's a
Yeah.
series.
Are you kidding me?
It is
Why
a
do I not know
series,
this? Oh, Josh should be here like any second.
Okay, yeah. Josh will be here any second now.
Mm-mm-mm. Should be here, should be.
We should all hide when he pops in. Like,
Nobody's here.
nobody's here, it's just you. Have fun, Josh.
I hope everyone's getting in their Josh questions. Yeah, I see some Josh questions. Let's see. Okay, so we did this question. Does anyone have an answer to which situation did you relate to the most?
The school dance awkwardness.
School dance.
Jesse, you have one?
No. I just feel like there were different elements from each one that I could relate
Yeah.
to. So.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a plane going by that's so loud.
Lame.
Lane. I feel the same way. There's a lot of different aspects of each situation that I really related to. Like what he was talking about in college, how like there are no like dates. It's just like everyone's just like weirdly
The casual college relationship.
hooking up.
I forgot what the abbreviation.
Yeah, I know, me too, but I liked it. And like it just made everything so difficult because like if you didn't like randomly hook up with them, then it was like there was no chance. Because that's how people get together in college.
Also, just in general, like I've mentioned before, just the not being brave enough to make the move, and like I can remember situations where like it was a great moment where I could have been like, so what is this? Like, do you want to do like be something here, like do something more official? But I didn't because I'm a total wuss, and I quit.
Well, did you do some moves like?
No, I'm so bad at moves.
Not even the subtle moves. Okay, Josh says he's live for the next 30 minutes answering questions. Should be here. There he is!
Here.
Josh is here!
Gosh.
Hello!
What's going on?
They're so chill.
I was sorry. Was this supposed to be when I said, yes, I'm here!
There we go.
Yes, my mother. Thanks for having me.
How you doing?
Good. What are we supposed to write in the lower third? We should hang out on
Whatever you'd like.
time. Thanks. How do you, is it,
Perimeters.
While you're setting that up, we'll answer a quick question here. Did you have any ground rules for dating like Josh did? Anyone have any?
No.
No. I didn't date anyone when I was of that age.
I just recently started dating, so it's like so fresh.
Like my mom was my parents were like really strict until I was like 13 or 14. Like I couldn't see PG-13 movies until
I couldn't
was like
either.
14.
Oh.
But like as soon as I hit high school and was like there's just no rules. Like my mom didn't care at all anymore. When I was a senior in high school, like she just went to Chicago for a week and let me have free reign of the house.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
But like I was such a good kid, like I never abused this. Like instead of having like a raging party, me and my friends put on a very fancy dinner event. Like formal dress was required. We put out menus. Like it was ridiculous.
I had like my dad. I remember him being like concerned that I hadn't dated anyone. Like if I was like emotionally scarred, or like if I was gay. I just I'm really shy. Leave me alone.
Okay, here's a question that someone asked that I really want to know the answer to as well, for Josh. You mentioned in the acknowledgments that you received a letter from the girl you called Francesca that about your relationship. Can you tell us a little bit about what was in that letter?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. Because it was like, because really like the way publication works is like the book itself is finished like much before the acknowledgments are finished. So that's why. So it's like the book was done, and then like the acknowledgments comes later, sort of in the publication process. So it's like by the time I had the letter from her, like the book was done, but I could still like write something in the acknowledgments. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If that was weird, I could probably find it and actually like tell you what the letter actually said. Yeah. This is really exclusive, juicy stuff right here.
Exclusive content coming to you guys.
Yeah, it's like not published anywhere. All right, so I'm looking through my Facebook history. So, well, okay.
It's like an essay.
Well, her letter is pretty long, so actually you probably like don't want to hear all of it. Okay. I can summarize it for you because I mean I know like sort of the content of it. But yeah, so because I'd written her like a couple of times and I was like, well, I'll write her like one last time and see if she writes back because like because the painful thing of it was she was the one I was like probably most curious about, you know, like did she like me? Like I can't quite tell. And so she wrote me back this really long Facebook message that really didn't tell. I still don't really know how she feels. Like
still don't have closure.
Yeah, it's like I have a long message from her, but closure would like here's some things that like so yeah, some of it was quasi insulting, and I don't mean that in like she shouldn't have written this to me. Like I feel like any information, like to me it was like any information that a girl was willing to provide to me in this sort of circumstance is very generous. Like by no means should by no means should anyone, in my opinion, feel obligated to like take part in my weird need to like find closure, right? If someone wants to be like, if someone wants to not reply to my emails, that's totally fine. And those are obviously like the girls I didn't include in the book, right? Because there's like 6 girls in the book. I actually like talked to like 12 girls, so some of them were just not as like interesting or whatever. But yeah, so here are some sentences from my message from the girl I call Francesca. What I remember about our time together was that it was a kind of relationship with a boy that I could handle. I never felt threatened by you. Is this good? I don't know. Sounds like, yeah, like the kind of thing like, yeah, you weren't like that, you know. You just didn't make me nervous. Yeah.
Like, should we take that as a compliment or?
Yeah. I never felt threatened by you and was always comfortable talking to you. That's not to say I wasn't nervous on some of our dates, which I was. I'll say that's a good sign that you did consider them dates.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's like probably the most complimentary thing that she said. Yeah. So here's a contradictory sentence. I liked you, but I don't think I felt, quote, drawn to you romantically, whatever that means for a 17-year-old girl. I wanted to go on dates with you and get to know you one-on-one, but I knew I wasn't looking for more. So...
What does it even mean?
Yeah. It's not like what I would have hoped to hear. I don't think. So yeah, there you go. That's like some actual word-for-word quotes from her message.
So this stalker chick.
Yeah, she's probably watching right now.
Has she read the book and got in touch with you? Like.
No, I just feel like if anyone out there who's in the book, like was gonna read it and like care about it, it's probably her. Like I feel like. The other girls are probably like, oh, that's cute. I remember him. He wrote a book. I feel like there's a good chance she just like got my tweet about this live video. It was like Josh is on a live video. All right, sorry. Did I interrupt you? Were you gonna ask a question about her? Do I know if she's in the book?
I wanted to bring her up. She was fun to read about.
Yeah, and I hope she's not watching right now. I don't, because I don't want to like. Be like saying mean things about her, but yeah, I would say we actually like we sort of like tried to like tone her down for the book. Like so some of the things my editor was like this is kind of extreme. Did she really do that? I was like, yeah, she really did that. And it was like maybe let's not put that. Like that just seems a little.
Is there?
We don't want to say anything like too harsh about her.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she was. I mean, she was nice. I think or I mean, she wasn't like she wasn't like. she didn't have bad intentions, or she wasn't like mean.
I'm picturing you like in the bathroom and she just like appears in the mirror behind you, like she's that kind of person.
Yeah, no, I spoke at William and Mary last week, like, which is where I went to school at the time, and I actually found. Let me see if I saw it on my phone. Like, I went to make sure, because I remembered very distinctly there being like a tree that I walked by, and then I could see her in the window, and I found that tree. It's still there.
She's like the Grudge, like in the background of every picture.
Yeah, no, it's like I Snapchatted it, so.
And find out later that like she's in the background.
So no, she was she's the one person, like, I guess, who's a significant, semi-significant character in the book who I didn't like sort of try to give a heads up to that the book was coming out, just because I don't keep in touch with her anymore. And also because she's portrayed, more negatively than the other people. Like everyone else who I went to right before the book came out was just like, heads up, like this book's coming out, like it's targeted towards teenagers, your name's changed, like everything's changed about you, only someone who like knew you at that time might possibly recognize you, so like it's, don't worry, but just like heads up, just so that, for fair warning. But Stella, I don't have a way to contact her, so.
What were the reactions to those girls? Like, when you said, like, hey, heads up, this book is coming out, like, was it fairly positive? Like, did anyone have any interesting reactions to that?
Yeah, I was really nervous about that, actually, because, and, like, I think I told this to you, the two of you, when I had dinner with you when I was in LA a couple months ago, that is, Kat and Christine. Like, I didn't go to these girls with the idea like, oh, I'm writing a book about this. It was like, it was just a thing that I wanted to do to, like, learn about myself or whatever in a really weird way. So, so it wasn't like I was going to them and like thinking like, oh, I'm going to write a book about this. So, it was like, I felt a little weird to be like, oh, surprise, like, remember that conversation we had like years ago? No, it's in a book. So yeah, I was worried that like some girls might like flip out, and I felt like that's their prerogative, like, even though, like, don't worry, like, your privacy's protected, but no, everyone was actually, like, super positive about it. Yeah, they were all like, oh, that's cool, like, this sounds interesting, and then I was like, cool, like, I'd be happy to send you a copy of the book. Like, I didn't want to, like, go to them. I felt like it was presumptuous to be like, I wrote about you in a book, wouldn't you like to read it? But I also didn't want them to have to, like, go out and pay for it, like, that's,
Yeah.
But so like, if they seemed positive about it, I was like, oh, I would be happy to send you a copy, and they were all like, yeah, and then but most of them I never heard from, like, about their reading experience, so I assume that means maybe they didn't like it. I don't know, I just felt like if they liked it, they would have written me. But if they really hated it, maybe they would have written to me too. Maybe it was just they were like,
like be cruel about it.
Yeah. No, I'll say one of them. I won't say who. But one of them wrote me and was like, "Hey, I just got the copy in the mail. Which page am I on?" Just like, okay, like, I mean, there's only 6 girls in the book. Like, you could have just flipped through and probably found yourself at least, like. She's like, I don't want to have to read anything more than my chapter. Please do not
just my chapter.
Yeah, don't let me sit through your other writing.
Oh my god.
A couple of them wrote me, like, the girl from the Miss America pageant, the Miss North Dakota. She wrote me and was like really positive and was like, I really liked it, and like, I'm sorry we had these miscommunications.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are some reactions for you.
We have a question here that says, what was the most painful moment of writing the book when you're revisiting these old, like, frustrations? Was any of those particularly frustrating for you?
Yeah, I would say, the most painful or difficult part was probably actually not any of the, as far as writing goes, was not the conversations themselves, but was actually sort of the part of the book I call the conclusion, which is the anecdote where I talk, I kind of have done, I've talked to these girls and I'm trying to, like, process it, and it's where in the book I write about when I saw that movie, which was the James Franco movie where he, he plays Aaron Ralston, where he loses his arm, and then I was like really, like, I went out in the car and, like, cried afterwards, and, like, really hit me really hard. And so that was writing that was actually really hard, and not in a sense it was like really difficult. It was just my editor kept saying like I would rewrite the section and she'd be like, no, like I don't, like it just doesn't, it doesn't feel insightful, it doesn't feel real, and so I had to keep rewriting it, and finally I was like, like I think that really the moment here is that story, like at the movie theater. So it was, and that was like a really painful moment to revisit. But in the end, I think it felt like, okay, yeah, this was like the honest moment that goes there in the book. So that was probably the hardest part, or the most painful part to write. But I think is hopefully, and talking to people is maybe what's often the most meaningful part of the book for readers is to, because like I have one leg, a lot of people don't have one leg, but everybody has like something, right? And so they realize like, oh, Josh came to a place of like acceptance about his situation, like,
yeah,
right? That's a universal lesson.
What about
that was a very serious answer.
There are definitely some scenes where you can like feel the awkwardness, but I know that in the book you also mentioned that part of something you talked about in your speeches was the golf course foot incident.
Yeah.
So like you relive the awkwardness there, so you kind of like own it. So were there any moments that were like awkward for you to relive?
Oh, yeah, from a writing perspective? Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I would say the part where I called that girl every day. Christine was ready for that. Yeah, she's like, oh, the phone calling part. I know. Yeah. that part was weird. Yeah, that's a pretty painful moment in my life to relive. Just to picture her. Oh, it's so bad. Like, because I thought I was being so slick by only leaving a message once a month. I was like, oh yeah, like that would be weird if I left a message every day. Obviously, I'll just call every day, and then. But just to know that she was getting those messages, like side buttoning me every single day, every day.
She was probably like, when is he gonna get that?
Oh man. Oh, so bad.
At the end, when you ended up like Facebook friend requesting like 6 different Ashley.
Yeah, that's. Can I what?
Did you ever like talk to her? Like, did she ever mention like, so you're friends with like 4 people with my name?
Yeah. Well, I think no, it definitely came up pretty early on in our relationship. Yeah, that she was like, because I had like. Yeah, I mean, obviously for good reason. Yeah, she was a little worried. Like, does this guy have like a fetish for people with like, like that's pretty weird that he has. And the weird thing was because I didn't immediately defriend them all because I didn't want them. Like I don't know. I just felt like I would hurt their feelings or something. So I was like, well, that was kind of a kind gesture that they just accepted the friendship of some random guy on the internet. So so I didn't want to defriend them immediately. So I was actually friends with like 6 Ashley Samsonites for like several months before I defriended them, and then I defriended them all. So yeah, but I told her obviously like this is what happened, and I think that she thought like, oh, that's romantic, like that you searched Facebook for like hours looking for me, which I did. Yeah.
Let's see here. There's a question here that says, Josh, when you met your fiance, were you at all worried that it would be like the rest? Like, almost something.
Was that, like, I mean, yeah, like, I mean, I think I was, because I mean, I wasn't I definitely wasn't, like, expecting, oh, man, like, this is the girl that I'm going to get married to. It didn't, I don't feel like you know that from. Well, I mean, I guess sometimes you hear those stories of people who like know immediately it was the one. But no, I definitely when I met her, I was like, wow, this girl's like way out of my league. Like, this is awesome. She's talking to me. Like maybe we can sustain this conversation. And we did. We've sustained the conversation.
Do you have any stories about getting together that you can share? Because in the book, it kind of time jumps. It's like. Several months later, we were dating.
Yeah. Well, in fact, I think I think I have it on my shelf. I actually did I tell you guys about like when we met a couple months ago, did I tell you about like how I proposed?
Yeah, we
yeah.
did hang out sometime.
Right, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I think I have it on my bookshelf somewhere. I thought I did. Hold on. Yeah, here it is. So, yeah, so like to propose, I gave Ash, this is a copy, because I made a couple copies of the book, so you can see it's like slightly different. We did hang out sometime. So I made a couple, it's much thinner. So I made a couple copies of this book because I wasn't quite sure where I was going to propose, and so different versions, it was, had like different places of me proposing. Yeah, so I should back up. This is a very confusing anecdote. So when I wrote the first draft of We Should Hang Out Sometime, it had like 50 pages of Ashley and I was in the last chapter, and then it was like, like these this doesn't fit with the rest of the book because it's like really happy. Like the rest of the book is like really awkward and funny, and now all of a sudden your relationship is going well, and it just doesn't fit. And so I think, so many readers have expressed like, oh, I wish I could have heard more about you and Ashley, but I acquiesced to my editor's request and cut that from like 50 pages down to like 5 pages or 4 pages, whatever it is. So yeah, so then when I proposed, what I did was I took all that section, all that stuff about Ashley and I made that into this book, We Did Hang Out Sometime, and gave that to her. And so it tells the story of our relationship, and then it ends with a chapter that like describes us getting engaged as if it had already happened. So it says like Ashley is like sitting in her bed with this very book, reading, with her cat Scar, which she was, nailed it. And then I was like, and then she comes up to the place where we had our first kiss, and I'm there with candles, and I get down on one knee, and we like start the next chapter of our lives or whatever. And so.
Wait, was the place like somewhere else, so she had to get up and go to it, and you were there?
Yeah. So it was like the place was, because I can't remember.
It was like that book, that Stephanie Perkins book.
Show your life.
Wait, like somebody else's book has this?
Stephanie Perkins, at the end of her book, there's something very similar.
Crap. Well, who published
yours is real life.
Who published it first?
No. I mean, it was delayed like 3 years.
So she thought of it first. So I'm just trying to see who plagiarized whom here. Well, I've never heard of her or read her book, so I think I did not plagiarize her. It sounds like she wrote it first, though. So she thought of it already. Dang it. Thought I was so original. Yeah. So the place was, it was like, I can't remember. I guess, I don't even... Because I always forget like which parts are in this book and which parts are in the real book. Because our first kiss was on the roof of my apartment building. So it was that. So by saying that, she knew to come to the roof of my apartment building, which is where our first kiss was and where we like got engaged. So that was a really long answer to your. I think you were wondering like more question. Or,
no, I think that was what we were looking for.
This is what we want.
We wanted that nice closure.
I feel like it could have been cool if it was like a little bit longer. My editor originally only wanted it to be like 1 page, but I was like, let's at least do like 4 pages. So I fought for you guys on that one to have a little bit more like happiness at the end.
Let's see here. Do we have any good questions on the end? Do you guys have?
Here's one. Can you tell us anything about your novel coming out next year?
Oh yeah.
Yes. I'm working on. I wrote it over like the last year and a half, 2 years, and I sold it to my publisher a couple months ago, and so I just got my first editorial letter back, and I'm actually. Like I will go into like hardcore revision mode starting this week, and I'll be working on that for like the next month. Okay, so man, I don't know, like I haven't really talked about it much in public. It's kind of weird. So it's called Sunrises Get All of the Hype, and it is about a guy who is born blind. Which is exceptionally unusual in that he is born totally blind. Most people who are blind, by legally blind, have some sight, or they lost their sight later in life. So it's a really, it's a very like different way of looking at the world, so to speak, because your visual cortex, to use a very scientific term, doesn't like develop at all. So there's a lot of like intricacies in terms of like his voice, because he's narrating from the perspective of being totally blind. But that's the science of it. The story of it is he's dating this girl, and he has this experimental surgery, which is actually a real surgery, but it works for very, very particular kinds of people, to where they can like gain vision later in life for the first time. So he has that, and he finds out that the girl he is dating has a really serious birthmark that's like very disfiguring, that like no one ever told him about. Like people were always like, oh yeah, like she's great, like she's really, really pretty, because they didn't think he'd ever have sight. And so then obviously the question on a subtextual level asks, like, what is love? What is attraction? Like what is beauty? Is it what we define as society? Is it influenced by that, or is it something inside you or whatever? So it's about his struggle to like learn how to see and like learn what colors are and how sight works and integrate that into his perception, but then also about like how that affects his relationship with the girl and like whether or not they can work through that together. So that's the log line for you, or a really long log line. It's like that's like the jacket copy.
This year? This fall?
No, it'll come out. It'll be like a long time from now, like a year and a half from now. It'll be like late 2016.
Yeah, publishing is a very slow process.
Yeah, publishing, as you guys probably know, is super slow process. How's your writing going, Kat? Do you talk about that? You tweeted about it, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like not too secret that you're doing something.
I've mentioned it before, but I don't talk about it as much when I haven't been working on it, which is
okay. So we'll just not talk about that right now.
Next topic.
We have time for like one more question.
Actually, yeah, I have a question that kind of has to do with writing.
Yeah.
Have there been any? You just got your editorial letter for the novel that you're writing, and you published 2 nonfiction books previously. So have there been any key differences in like publishing nonfiction, like things that are true about your life and something that you came up with? Like, do you feel closer to one or the other? Like, is the criticism harsher for one or the other?
Yeah. I mean, that's a really fascinating difference. Yeah, because it's, because I mean, obviously my novel hasn't come out yet, so it'll be interesting to see like when people say like they don't like your memoir, in some ways that's very personal.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like when you write a memoir, it's like you're like, here's my life and the choices I made. And you kind of feel like they're like, I just don't like you as a person or as a life story. Just the things you're doing with your life, I'm not down with. So that can feel kind of weird. But I feel like you could probably. I mean, I feel like as a novelist, your fiction being criticized could be just as personal, right? Because you're like, oh, these like. These imaginary characters that I've brought forth to life, that's like really scary too. But yeah, it's really interesting because with nonfiction, it's like you have all these events in your life, right? And real life is very chaotic, and it doesn't really have closure. And I talk about that some in We Should Hang Out Sometime, is like how I was trying to find closure, but sometimes there wasn't, because that's how real life is. But when you're writing a memoir, you're trying to like, what are some bits of meaning that I can like soak out of the true life events? Because sometimes you think like, oh, like this is what actually happened. This would be such a better story though, right? And you're like, I wish I could write this, but I'm going to stick to the truth. But now that I'm writing fiction, I'm like over here. I'm like, anything could happen, and then you're always like, well, is it this or is it this, or like maybe it's this thing over here. So yeah, it's so different. But in some ways, it's very, very like liberating, because you can just say anything, because you literally just make stuff up. It's crazy, and very terrifying, because I'm like, I just made that up. Like, will people find that interesting as a story? I mean, because obviously we do, right? But that's like the fascinating illusion of fiction, is as John Green, I love, always talks about, in a lot of the prefaces of his books, like, he's always like really big on like, don't try to compare anything that's happened in my actual life to the characters in this book, because that can kind of erode the foundation, in his terms, of the whole idea that made-up stories can mean anything, right? but it's a beautiful thing that made-up stories can mean something.
Yeah, definitely. Oh gosh. Okay, so it's 5 o'clock, and that was great. Thank you for joining us.
Oh man, thank you guys so much for having me. It was such an honor to be in your club this week, or this month actually, and to see like you guys holding up pictures of the book throughout the month.
This is how we end our lives. Hold up yours so we all match.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry. I didn't get the cue. I'm really bad at these things. Oh, hey.
So, everyone, thanks for joining us for the live show. I hope you had fun. Next month, we're reading The Feet of Tierling. I'm Christine.
I'm Jesse.
We didn't plan for this either. Come on, we always do this. Your turn.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Wow, I'm so bad at these. This is probably why I never got a girlfriend, as my life fully to read social cues. I should obviously be saying my name. I'm like looking at my book card. I'm like, that's a nice color red. And I'm Josh.
Bye.
Bye.